Ashtavakragita, chapter 4, verse 3. The heart of one who has known that is not touched by virtue and vice. Just as the sky is not touched by smoke, even though it appears to be. The sage is saying that the sky is not touched by smoke. So you might be wondering why we will first take up the examples of the verse and then get into the gist of it. That's because it's easier to connect to the stories and then get into the root of it. This is the whole reason why even in many scriptures we would be coming across many stories. The intention of these stories is written so that our mind connects and understands the stories, because we live always in the stories, but not just to get stuck with it, but to go deeper and find the connection behind the metaphors that the sages have provided. Right? That's the reason in most of the verses we have first tried to understand why the sage is connecting this metaphor and then get into the gist of it. In case if you would like to listen to all the verses, I have attached the playlist link in the description where you will be finding all the verses. So we might have observed that whenever we are praying to God, we look at the sky. Or say, when something good happens, we look at the sky and we thank God. Right? We always feel that God is a sky. Right? It's just engraved in our mind. Right? And probably I'm thinking that is because, from long time, people have understood, or whoever has made that analogy, that's because sky is something which is limitless. Or for the mind, sky is something which doesn't have the boundary. Right? And the resemblance to that is what we try to connect between the God and the sky. Right? With the same analogy, the sage is trying to say that has the sky, the heart of the one who has known the truth is not touched by virtue and vice. Let's go one step deeper into what he is saying. The one who has known the truth has no space left for virtue and vice. The person who is aware has no space left for bondage or attachment. Right? When there is space, then we are creating a limitation there. Right? When there is limitation, we want to fill that limitation. Right? And that filling happens through this bondage or attachment. And this is little tricky. It's not like the person who is aware will create the space, fill it, will not be having any space. No. It's not like the space will appear at some point and then again it will go away. No. The sage is saying that the person is so full of God that even the person doesn't exist. So, what does that mean? The person doesn't exist, meaning when the ego is not there. Right? Subtly, the sage is pointing towards that place where he is letting us know to look at the ego which is creating the space, the ego which is creating the foundation, the ego which is creating the attachment. Right? Who will create the bondage? Only when there is limitation is when there is space. So if there is a limitation, then there is space for transaction. If there is no limitation created by ego, then where is the space or boundary? There is no feeling of incompletion, and hence there is no need to find something outside for completion. Right? This is the actual completion. However, the body is present, and the body will create the relationship looking at the outside world. Right? Let's take a practical approach and try to understand what the sage is saying here. We need to make sure that the relationship that is being created by the body is not being made for satisfying the ego. For example, if I have to eat food for my survival, then let it be for God. Let it be for reaching God. Let it be for me to live and spread the worthiness of this life to be with God, rather than satisfying my ego. This is just one example, but the sage is saying us to be aware of all the things that we do to be guided by, to be guided to, and guided for God. Let's listen to just one. Let's listen to God. Let's not listen to our ego and make decisions. The sage is saying, though there is smoke or clouds, the sky is actually clear. Right? When we are aware of this, then there is no fear. When someone is having desire is when there is no completion. Desire itself is showing up because I am not complete and I want completion from outside. The desire is setting the bar and causing us to limit. The person who is aware is the one who is experiencing this world fully, completely, without any limitations, without any expectations. This person with awareness is the one who lives the life fully and completely. How can fear, selfishness, and desire make you experience fully? Tendencies will always limit us. Let's contemplate on this. Let the body do its work. We can't stop our eyes from looking outside. We can't stop our nose from smelling. These are all just happening without any force. See how nicely the body has its own order to perform these actions. This is nature. How the heartbeat, blood flow, and all are just going on in order. Then why do we feel the anxiety to do certain things and blame the body? Here, we are just following the orders of the ego. Ego wants us to trap ourselves and identify by saying that you do so and so for your body. Why? Is this the cause of all sufferings? Isn't this an unending trap? Will I be able to stop the flow of the blood by my thinking? Will I be able to change the bone structure of my body by thinking? No, right? Then why does the thought of the ego having so much of an impact on the body and making us worry so much? Where is this ego situated? Why is it always trying to limit and put across a boundary and trap us? Let's look at all our relationships. If we have the relationship with the expectation, then is it guided by God or by ego? This world is just a playground. There is no meaning for the winning and losing if there is no expectations. This doesn't mean that I don't do anything or I'm not being serious about life. No. This does mean that each and everything in my life is of God's quality. I see God in everything. Then where is the fear of loss or win? Wouldn't we be giving everything that we have with full purity and love if we have God in our life? If we are guided by God? Can life be lived fully with purity and with the understanding of self? Only then isn't this world lighter.